Okay. So, okay. So we're going to discuss two poems, Robert Frost, two Robert Frost poems, um, Fire and Ice and Dust of Snow. The first poem that we'll be discussing is Fire and Ice. It's a very simple poem. I think even if you just read along the lines, it's so simple that anyone can understand it. How many of you did not understand this poem? Okay, before I ask that, how many of you have read this poem? Just raise your hands if you have read this poem. Uh, you can have that option near the comment section. Just raise your hand if you have read this poem. If you haven't read this poem, just maybe drop a thumbs up so I can understand how many of you read the poem and how many of you haven't. Not making any judgments, guys. So if you have read it or not, it's fine for me. That's why I'm here. I will teach you what this is all about. So don't worry. Okay. Um, Okay, so moving on. I'll just read the poem. I think most of you can see the poem here. So we'll just, if you want, you can just open your textbook and read it with me, along with me, or you can just close your book and just focus on the presentation that's been shared. Okay, all good?
Yes, sir.
Nod. Okay, thank you. Okay, some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for distraction, ice is also great and would suffice. So, pardon me for the spelling mistakes in between. I was typing it and I was in a hurry. So, a little bit spelling mistake. I think you will forgive me for that. Okay, some say the world will end, and some say the world. I mean, some say the world will end in fire, or and some others say the world will end in ice. So we can see there are two sections of people. One section says the world will end in fire. The other section will say that the world will end in ice. So it's certain by the poet that the world is going to end. There's no doubt regarding that. So there's no confusion whether or not the world will end. He is sure that the world will end. And he's actually putting out a debate how the world will end. Will it be by fire or will it be by ice? So as you can see, fire is something hot and ice is something extremely cold. So two extreme sides, right? Two extreme sides. Extremely hot, extremely cold. Two extreme sides. So the point is trying to balance the two sections of the society with two extreme sides on how the world is going to end. Okay, and coming to the next two lines in the same paragraph, from what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So here he's actually saying that so from what I have tasted of desire, okay, here the desire means so there are some emotions that are very, very hot, like love is a very hot emotion. Then anger is very hot emotion. Whereas hate is something very cold. It's a cold emotion. Okay, so so human beings say that we are the most loving creature on this planet, and that has become a problem for many, or I mean, that has become a problem for the existence of the planet itself. So the point is saying, see, humans' love has reached a limit where I think that love is going to destroy the world. Okay. So I'll give you an example. To give you an example, I love India. Okay. I love India. Or I am saying that I love India. Okay. Anyways, I love India. So I love India. And for the love of India, if any other country comes and attacks me, I might destroy that country. Why? Because I love India. So much of our love which is signified as fire, or which is symbolically represented in relation to fire here, can be the cause of destruction to this entire world. Now, as you know, most countries have nuclear power. Most countries have nuclear power. What does this nuclear power do? What is this nuclear power for? Most countries claim that it is for their own protection. But what it does is actually destruction, the exact opposite of protection. So that's what the poet says in the first line. And when we come to the next line, I mean, sorry, not the line, next stanza, it says, but if I had to perish the earth twice, I think I know enough of hate. So you can see that hate is used here, the emotion hate is used here, or the feeling hate is used here to say that it's for, not for, it's for. I've misspelled it, my bad. To say that for destruction, ice is also great and will suffice. So here's the poet says that. So see, how can you hate something? Can you hate something without you having any feelings for it? For example, um, you need to like somebody to even create some kind of hate or hatred towards that person. Similarly, the poet is saying here, I have understood this world so much that I have lost all my hope in this world. And this love for their nation, or this love for their people or their community, has transitioned into hatred for others. I hope you guys are following me. Are you? If you are following me, just drop a thumbs up. If you want me to repeat, just type in. Maybe you can just comment personally or publicly. That's perfectly fine, whichever you're comfortable with. Okay, I'm just going to go along. Okay. Quite confusing there, Alina. Yeah, somewhere in the middle. Okay, don't worry. I'll give you an explanation for this. Okay, I'll give yet another explanation for this, so don't worry. So he's saying that to say that for destruction. So he's suggesting that there is hatred and love in this world. Love is related to fire, and hatred is related to ice. And he says that there is enough love in this world that can destroy one another. I've given you examples for that. And he says that this love has transitioned into hatred for others. That hatred can also destroy this world. So the poet is actually putting forward two ideas or two feelings to you guys to think how the world is going to end. Is it going to end because of your love? Is it going to end because of your hatred? But he is certain. He is certain that the world is going to end. Okay. So I have, so if you can read this, that would be good. So the speaker takes us to the middle of an argument between people who think the world will come to a fairy end. It's not fairy, it's fury. My bad. It's fairy end. Fury means burning or fire, or it will freeze. He may be talking about, sorry, again a spelling mistake, not taking, it's talking, okay? He may be talking about the literal meaning, literal end of the world, or the power of humans, or the power humans have to harm one another. Okay, so the speaker is saying, the speaker says that the romantic desire has taught him that passionate or hot emotions like love and lust would see love and lust here, if you can see, that is considered as hot emotions. Hot emotions are something that is related to fire in this form. And he's saying that that has the power to take this earth into a big fireball. Now, I've given you an expression earlier that we are equipped with lot of nuclear powers. And this nuclear power is nothing but some like a bomb that is about to explode. Can this nuclear power bring peace into this world? I don't think so. Would be quite the opposite of peace. And again, he said that he's also experienced the other extreme, and he knows that colder emotions like hate have great destructive power. So it's like love gets all the publicity, and hate is like the silent killer. So ഒന്ന് മലയാളത്തിലും കൂടെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. അപ്പൊ ലവ് ആൻഡ് ഹേറ്റ് രണ്ട് ഇമോഷൻസ് ആണ് ഇവിടെ ഫയർ ആൻഡ് ഐസിൽ കൂടെ നമ്മുടെ പോയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു തരുന്നത്. അതിനകത്ത് ലവ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനം ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പം ലവ് കണ്ടു ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അങ്ങനത്തെ ഇമോഷൻസ് മതി. ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ടേൺ ദിസ് എർത്ത് ഇൻ ടു എ വെരി നാസ്റ്റി പ്ലേസ്. ഇപ്പം നമുക്ക് നമ്മളുടെ ആൾക്കാരോട് ഇടയ്ക്കുള്ള സ്നേഹം ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോന്ന് അറിയില്ല, പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഒരു ഉദാഹരണം പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സംഭവമുണ്ട്. ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ്. ഹൗ മെനി ഓഫ് യു ഹാവ് ഹേർഡ് ഓഫ് ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ്? ജസ്റ്റ് അൺമ്യൂട്ട് യുവർ മൈക്ക് ആൻഡ് ലെറ്റ് മീ നോ. അറിയാത്തവര് ഇങ്ങനെ തംസ് അപ്പ് അടിച്ചാലും മതി. ക്യാമറയിൽ തംസ് അപ്പ് അടിച്ചാലും എനിക്ക് കാണും കേട്ടോ, പക്ഷെ എല്ലാരെയും കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഓക്കെ, അനീറ്റ സേസ് താങ്ക് യു. ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇപ്പോഴൊന്നും അങ്ങനെ ഇല്ല കേട്ടോ എന്ന് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ഈ ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് കുറച്ച് കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇതാണ്. സംഭവം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു ആണും പെണ്ണും, പല ജാതികളുള്ള ആണും പെണ്ണും അവരുടെ പേരൻസിന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ ഫാമിലിക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിക്ക് വിരുദ്ധമായിട്ട് അവർ ഒന്നിച്ച് കല്യാണം കഴിച്ചെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. സോ ആ കല്യാണം കഴിച്ചു പോയ അവര് ഇപ്പം വേറെ എവിടെയെങ്കിലും താമസിച്ചായിരിക്കും. അപ്പൊ അവരുടെ ആ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ പേരൻസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ ആ ഫാമിലി ഇവരെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച് ഇവരെ കൊല്ലും. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്? അവരുടെ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീന്റെ വാട്ട് ഡു യു കോൾ, അവരുടെ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീന്റെ റെസ്പെക്ട് കാത്തു സൂക്ഷിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ഹാപ്പൻഡ്. ഇത് കുറെ നടന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സംഭവമാണ്. നോർത്ത് ഇന്ത്യയിലൊക്കെ ഇപ്പോഴും വളരെ, നോർത്ത് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ മാത്രമെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയില്ല, നമ്മുടെ സൗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിൽ കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ സംഭവങ്ങളൊക്കെ കുറവാണ്. കാരണം ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേഷൻ കുറവാണ് കേരളത്തിൽ. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ അപ്പം എഗെയിൻ ലവ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ ഒരു സംഭവം ഓണർ കില്ലിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവർക്ക് അവരോടുള്ള ബഹുമാനവും അവർക്ക് അവരോടുള്ള ആദരവും കൊണ്ട് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരു സാധനമാണ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ബോൺ ഔട്ട് ഓഫ് ലവ്. ബട്ട് ഈവൻ ദിസ് ലവ് ക്യാൻ ഹാവ് സോ മച്ച് നെഗറ്റീവ് influence, or it can bring so much negative influence to this world. And just like that, let's move to ice. Ice എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് ഇവിടെ ഹേറ്റ് ആണ്, hatred ആണ്. hatred എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് obviously it can easily bring destruction. ഇവിടെ അത് ഐസ് ആയിട്ട് കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത് അതൊരു കോൾഡ് ഇമോഷൻ ആണ്. hatred എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു കോൾഡ് ഇമോഷൻ ആണ് അല്ലെ? കാരണം hatred ഉള്ളപ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ ആൾക്കാരെ ഇഗ്നോർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ ആൾക്കാരെ we just despise such people. So hatred അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇവിടെ ഒരു ഫ്രോസൺ മെന്റാലിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു കോൾഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഇമോഷൻ ആയിട്ട് ഇവിടെ സിഗ്നിഫൈ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. I hope where am I? Okay, I hope I have. Okay, Dust of Snow. Again, a poem by Robert Frost. So, we have already discussed this poem. It's a very simple poem. Again, this is as simple, or it's more simple or simpler than Fire and Ice. Dust of Snow. Dust. Okay, dust. Okay, focus on that word, dust. 4D. Okay. So, Dust of Snow. Okay, we're going to read the poem. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of the day I had grieved. How many of you remember the explanation I had given in the first class Drop. Okay, Adi says, Adi has raised your hand. Those who remember, or give a thumbs up, those who remember the explanation. Okay, good. Good, good. Okay. Oh, that's so good. Almost everybody remembers. That's very, very good. Okay. Um, as you know, the poet is having a very bad day. The poet is walking across along the road, along a path, and he comes across a hemlock tree. I've already explained what a hemlock tree is. Hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. So even if you eat the bark or the leaves of hemlock tree, it may kill you. I'm not really sure, but it is considered as a poisonous tree, hemlock tree. Does anyone have a different opinion about that? Please unmute yourself and you can say it out loud. Okay, I'm taking that as a no, or you can maybe drop a chat, drop a comment on the chat section, whichever you prefer. Okay, so the poet, as I mentioned, is having a very bad day, and he's just in a bad mood. He's walking along the path, and he has come across a hemlock tree, and suddenly, from the hemlock tree, some dust of snow has shook down on him. So we don't know where the snow fell. Was it on his shoulder, or was it on his head, or was it on other body? It's not mentioned. So some dust of snow fell on his body, which was on a hemlock tree. So when I say hemlock tree, I want you to imagine any tree. I know you guys don't know what a hemlock tree is, but just imagine a pine tree and imagine the snow covered in the pine tree. Yeah. And suddenly a crow comes and sits on that hemlock tree. Or maybe the crow was sitting on the hemlock tree and it flew away. It was about to fly away. Or maybe it was just shaking itself because of all the snow. And suddenly some dust of snow falls on our poet. Okay. And as I mentioned, this guy or this person is having such a bad day or such a hard day. And as soon as the dust of snow falls on his head, he feels a transition in his feelings or emotions. He was having a bad day, and suddenly that instance of that sudden snow that fell on his body has changed his mood. Okay, so that small instance has changed his mood, has transitioned his mood completely, and from a bad day, it changed into a good day. So that's what it says in the last line, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had viewed. So it says that, it was a very bad day for him, and suddenly the day changed. And it became all of a sudden a bad day changed to a good day. So I have already explained this poem. I hope this was enough explanation about this poem. Okay, so just some PowerPoint as well. I'll share some PowerPoint as well. So explanation. So the poem is set in a scene where the poet is in a bad mood and is walking by a hemlock tree. As he passes by, a crow happens to throw some snow of dust on him. The author was having a terrible day. But the falling of the snow on his head lifted his mood instantly. See, that's a very good phrase. But the falling of the snow on his head. Okay, I've mentioned on his head here. It's not mentioned in the poem. So, and anyways, it doesn't matter whether the snow falls on his head on or some other part of the body, as far as the snow has fell on his body. That's all you need to understand. So it has lifted his mood instantly. Lifted his mood. Lifted his mood എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ phrase നിങ്ങൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കണം. A very good phrase. Lifted his mood എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് lift ചെയ്യുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ ഉയർത്തുക എന്നാണ് അല്ലെ. But it means the same as change his mood. So very good phrase that you can use when you write. He has already, next point, he has already spent his day in a bad mood, but the rest of it was saved by a crow and the hemlock tree. Here, the two agents of nature, the hemlock tree and the crow, are signifiers of sadness and gloom, just like the poet's mood wasn't the opening scene. It was perfectly used to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. Okay, നിങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് ഈ സാധനമാണ്. Okay, ഈ second last point it is perfectly used to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. Inauspicious. What does inauspicious mean? Drop your thoughts on the comment section. Inauspicious. What do you know, or what do you understand by that word, inauspicious? Hey, that's so good. Nobody commented. That's okay. Inauspicious എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി കേട്ടോ. ഇപ്പൊ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയണം നിർബന്ധമൊന്നുമില്ല. മലയാളത്തിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാനാണെങ്കിലും it's fine. Anybody wants to give it a try? Okay, I see some comments popping up. Okay, good. Unfavorable, unpromising. Okay. Anybody else? Inauspicious. Okay. What Feba and Alina said was correct. Inauspicious എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മൾ എന്താ മലയാളത്തില് അസഗുണോ നല്ലതല്ലാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്താ പറയാ നമ്മള് ബാഡ് ലക്ക് എന്നൊക്കെ പറയില്ല ബാഡ് ലക്ക് ശകുനം യെസ് ഐ തിങ്ക് ശകുനം സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് അതിന്റെ അർത്ഥം അറിയില്ല എനിവേസ് ഞാനത് കേട്ടിടത്തോളം ശകുനം എന്നാണ് തോന്നുന്നു ഇൻഓസ്പീഷ്യസ് ലൈക്ക് ബാഡ് ലക്കിനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ അങ്ങനെയല്ല പറയാ അല്ലെ നല്ലത് ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ പറയില്ല ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു എന്താ പൂച്ച റോഡിന്റെ നടുക്കൂടെ ചാടിയാൽ നമ്മൾ ആ റോഡ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യാൽ അശകുനം അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ പറയുക പറയും ഡു വി സേ
yes sir
perfect okay then the word fits perfectly so see here the poet uses inauspicious or things that is referred as bad luck. Crow is something always referred to as bad luck or bad omen. Hemlock tree, a poisonous tree, again something that signifies bad luck or something that signifies a bad mood. So how the poet has used negative things to evoke a positive feeling in himself. You know, that's how Robert Frost has used or played with words in this poem. And one main theme or prominent theme in this poem is that the last dot points. One must not take things and granted that should be open and accept whichever way the nature chooses to bless them. That means you should not take your life or yourself for granted. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ഉള്ള സമയം നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ജീവിക്കുന്ന സമയം നമ്മൾ മാക്സിമം അതിനെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക അതിനോട് ബി താങ്ക്ഫുൾ ഫോർ ഇറ്റ് യാ rather than being annoyed or irritated or angry for any reason, let that be. You know, that's you wasting your time. You should be thankful and grateful for the time that you are here, for wherever you are, and however the situation may be. You know, there are so many people here who sleeps outside without a home, without a shelter. There are so many people who sleeps without a good dinner. There are so many people like that. There are so many kids who cannot afford school. There are so many kids who can't imagine going to school. You know, so even, so I'm just comparing it with you. Even when I look at myself, there are some times that I feel so frustrated about life. But what this poem tells us that is, you should be thankful or grateful for what you have, and try to use those simple situations or instances in life, and use those instances. If you're having a bad day, use a simple instance and take that instant into a good mood, change it into a good mood, because that's the value or the worth of living. I hope that I have made this poem very, very clear to you guys.